What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. That's Dean7904 if you want to get all technical on me. Once again, invading Blender's turf on a Thursday afternoon because we have a lot of afternoon baseball to get into. Crunch time, of course, comes after us, takes you all the way up the lock. But we're going to get comfortable the next hour and 15 minutes. Myself, Blender, not as into it as usual because we got Will, Chief. What's up, Will? Good morning. We were playing a game trying to guess what jersey you were wearing. Maybe the chat can go ahead and play along as well, too. Maybe we can kind of give away a week free of RG Premium if we, I don't know if we can kind of juice that up. It is Fleet Thursday as well. We didn't coordinate this. I actually have a Fleet Thursday that we'll be playing as well. But I think
what I did, I dropped my chair so no one could see the bottom of the jersey. Even if I lean up, lean back, like they're not going to. So I've lowered myself. So Steve, I know my camera frame might be a little bit different, but I've dropped myself. And we'll see if anybody guesses this one. So here's what they have to do to get the free week, Dean. They have to get the team and the player.
The chat's already
they're already onto us.
They're already onto us. I see. I mean,
they know where you live.
And also it's not going to be hard because it's I mean, truthfully, if you had the older jerseys, it would be a little bit more difficult.
This is an older jersey, actually.
No, I'm talking about an older, but not when the team wasn't named that. Yeah, but if it was more like a Pelicans, a former what?
Well, what these friends right on the said Blender? Just tell them exactly who it is. You just basically said like exactly what team it is.
No.
I'm not ruining anything. Anyone that's paying attention to the chat, it's not like they're getting it.
Yeah, but listen, team and player. Team and player, and that's going to make it a little bit more difficult, Dean, than like the Tim Duncan one you came up with, and it was like 21. I don't know what
your little quizzy things with the clues, where the first one and 3 minutes later everyone gets it. I mean this one's much tough. Truthfully, if you told me the team, it would have probably taken me 10 guesses on who's on the back.
Well, again, now you're saying don't name the popular guys. You're telling the chat exactly. You're giving them the
They already named the popular people. There aren't they? to be fair,
there's
Will,
not a lot of popular guys.
I know it's your team. There aren't many popular players on your team. So, like in general. So.
Well, there's more than you think. There's
some good names being thrown out in chat, though.
Yeah.
All right. We keeping an eye on this, Will?
I must say, one of them is really good. It's not it, but it's really good. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
Is that an official guess? Mr. Richard says, I doubt it's Adam Morrison of the Bobcats. But if it was Adam Morrison, would that count as an official guess?
That would count as an official guess.
All right. Good morning, boys. Yeah, get comfortable, talk a little bit of baseball. I was digging into this really late last night, into this slate. So I feel I got a hot take. I like to have a take. Today I have a hot take, at least for tournaments. We'll be discussing it. Nothing really perfect as far as pitchers. We'll have that conversation as well. Some sort of uncomfortable chalk. At least what I perceived is going to be chalk. I'm giving a refresh right now as far as the ownership stuff, but looking at 7-8 games as far as the slate. Luis Heel, best K rate on the slate. Fly ball guy gives up way too many walks as well. The control's an issue. Exactly as I suspected. Like Seth Lugo and Arrighetti are the chalk. 38% for Seth Lugo. Arrighetti getting 30%, and it's mostly because of their matchups. They're facing the Athletics and the White Sox, respectively. It's gross. We'll have that conversation, but spoiler, I don't like those guys as chalk. I want to be under on both Lugo and Arrighetti because they're not great. They're not great. The best things you can say about them is the matchup, but, we have to roster somebody. One pitcher on FanDuel, 2 on DK. Otherwise, the sites say will not accept your submission. But, it's pretty rough out here. And then, of course, the Dodgers have a 7 total. And for what it's worth, Roth has kind of put the flag up on that one as well. It's currently orange-yellow in Colorado. Now, that game is late. I think it's 5 hours away right now, like 4 o'clock on the East Coast or so. No lineups just yet. Scattered storms, according to Roth. I think a delay of some sort is fairly likely, but my guess is that one way or another, they managed to play ball. If you didn't piece that together, I was reading on behalf of Roth. I'll go ahead and drop this link in chat for people as well. But otherwise, I think we're good weather-wise, right? Green, yellow in Cleveland, yellow in Minnesota, yellow, green, Houston at the White Sox. Monitor this stuff. Roth will be on in an hour plus. But yeah, Blender, what is your thoughts as far as today's slate? And the Dodgers. I mentioned the Dodgers. Yeah, they have like a 7 total facing Ty Blach and whatever's left of that Colorado bullpen locked in for 9. Very clearly the best offense before things get going. But of course, baseball, goofy stuff always happens. Also want to keep an eye on Judge. Judge is going to come back? Is he going to come back today? I know the X-rays are negative. I think there's a decent chance C.J. Abrams doesn't play today. He's currently projected, but he was supposedly going for some X-rays. And then Yordan Alvarez was dealing with a personal issue, so I don't know if he's going to play baseball today. Three pretty big names that are up in the air as of right now. We'll get some of that news as the show progresses. Blender, give me your screenshot. What are we seeing?
Well, I just want to be clear that it's orange-yellow in the weather forecast in Colorado. It is not orange-yellow in Colorado. I'm sure we have people in Colorado that could confirm that. They go outside their doors. They're not going to see orange and yellow. These are signifiers of our weather forecast from Kevin Roth.
The people were confused. They probably I didn't mean to strike any fear in anybody. Right. Yes, okay.
Right, you know me. I'm a stickler for the literal. Right, you say someone's out with the neck, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. Everyone has a neck.
Their neck hurts.
Yeah. I could put this on repeat every day for pitching. The chalk is going to be is the pitcher against the White Sox and the pitcher against the A's, and then the Dodgers have a run total that's like 3 runs higher than almost everyone on the slate, other than maybe the Astros. I mean, there's some in the high 4s. So the pitching on today's slate is not great. I mean, just like any of these guys could get blown up, but you don't have to spend money on pitching today. And I would say there's maybe 6 or 7 pitchers that I wouldn't mind playing, but I don't think like Arrighetti or Lugo facing the White Sox in Oakland are like you must play them. I think there's some other guys, but I mean, the overwhelming chalk in hitting is going to be the Dodgers. So to me, I think I play this. I still don't know, but I think I would play this as not playing the Dodgers and just like I'm going to play 3 to 5 lineups today. Maybe this to me, this is my first look. Also, I mean, I'm looking at what I'm going to do on this show as it is. I think I'm much more likely. There's no pitcher I don't think any of these pitchers are going to be like 50% owned. Right? It's going to be spread out a bunch of these, but the Dodgers are going to be mega owned. So I think I'm much more likely to just choose 2 to 4 pitchers or whatever, and then just play 5 different stacks in 5 different lineups that aren't the Dodgers, and maybe you play maybe you play one of the expensive Dodgers as a one-off or something like that. You mix in something else. It just, to me, the clearest path to first place is to not play what could be 30+% owned Dodgers on a 7-game slate, especially if the risk of rain, if people are just going to dive in and just like not care, and then have to switch over to like the Yankees or something if the game gets like postponed or whatever. Yeah, I'll just play the other teams. But on the other hand, if everyone's scared of the weather, right? If everyone's like, oh, you can't play the Dodgers, you can't play the Dodgers, you can't play the Dodgers, it's raining, it's gonna rain. Then I wanted the complete opposite strategy. So I want to just play five Dodgers lineups. So basically, I told people to do one of two things, and it really depends on how you believe the field is going to react to the weather forecast of it being orange yellow in Colorado.
That was Tout 101, by the way. Congratulations. You graduated with honors. That's exactly what you do, Blunder. You tell them two different things, and you get it right somehow. Although it's going to be somewhere in the middle, possibly.
Yeah, but I don't know which one I'm going to do. I mean, strategically, I think they're both correct. It just depends on how much you think the field is going to react to because we're projecting ownership on the Dodgers as if human beings aren't playing. They're not just complete rational actors, and we may not have lineups for that game by the time lock hits. Maybe, right? And we may not have to know what they delay start, maybe they whatever. I mean, that's the riskiest game. It has the best team in it, and do you want the best team at lower ownership if people are going to react, negatively to the rain forecast? Or if they end up being, let's say the Dodgers end up being 40% owned and then the game gets postponed. Like, how much of an edge not playing the Dodgers would have been?
Yeah, and there are pivot teams like you mentioned. Will, jump in here. Your thoughts as far as the slate. It is lineups, not players. I've heard that before. So I think you can still play the Dodgers. You can do them a little bit differently. I think you can play them as a mini. I think you can play 5 and the 3 you're playing them with. You don't necessarily play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we'll have that conversation as we progress. But Will, what do you got? How are you seeing this slate today?
Well, you already know I'm fading the Dodgers today. I don't ever play high ownership Coors. I don't care. And someone mentioned in the chat, I think King Manor, he said they scored a boatload in the first 3 games, and they really have. Both sides of this series has been pretty explosive. And then I'm saying talking about what King Manor said because I do think it's interesting and important. He says if the Dodgers put up 10 plus runs and you have none, you're done. I'm not playing cash. I'm playing tournaments. So I've already have the mindset that if they score 10, I just lose that day. It's no problem to me. I'm full fading the Dodgers today. Ohtani 7K. They got some other expensive pieces. I like the Royals against Spence. I like, the Astros against the White Sox. I like, both sides of the Mariners-Cleveland game. I love Minnesota. So I just think for me, I have tons of other offenses that I can play today, and I don't feel like I'm locked into the Dodgers. So, and once again, it's slate dependent. If the Dodgers, the Rays were facing, 20, let's call it 2023 Pablo Lopez, and the Twins were facing, 2022 Tyler Glasnow. And you get what I'm saying? If they were facing much better pitching, I have a totally different discussion today. But I don't see anybody on this slate in general that I'm afraid of from a pitching perspective. Definitely not afraid of flexing some of these other guys that I want to play, that I want to target. So I'm just going to take the other good offenses. Like the Dodgers aren't the only good offense on this slate. And I think to me, the Dodgers are the pillar of the slate. Do you play them? Do you not play them? Whatever you decide, both sides are probably fine. But I'm choosing to take the path less traveled today, which is full fading Coors like usual. And I'm going to live with the results of that. Too many other good teams for me to box myself into Coors today when everybody's going to play them because they're hopping on the train late.
There are 2 teams that have a team total above 5. Houston just barely above 5, taking on Chris Flexen. That might dip if Alvarez is not playing. He's currently projected to play. And then there's the Dodgers who have a team total not above 6, and it's above 7, 7.36, which is a pretty absurd number, locked in for 9 at Coors. As far as a weather edge when it comes to Coors today, taking a peek at that as well. Looking pretty good. 89 degrees, has the fire emoji, just means it's hot. 26 game sample, not a monster sample, but runs up 3%, homers up at 18%, wind blowing out to center field at 10 miles per hour. So it's more of an ownership thing. It looks great. It looks great on paper, but baseball, yada yada yada.
And let me say this too, Dean. Saying I'm not playing Coors, that's not me trying to convince you that you shouldn't. I'm here to tell you my strategy for the day. I think a lot of people think that I'm supposed to tell you what to do. If you ask me a question, I'll answer it. But my MO is I want to explain to you how I'm approaching the slate, and then you can make a determination of do you like some of my thoughts or not. And I think the Dodgers are a great stat, but I think the ownership is going to be very high, so I'm taking the fade.
I don't like to speak in definitives. Sometimes I do it by accident. You said you don't play Coors ever. Do you ever break that rule?
Well, yeah, of course, but I always specify that. Like for instance, that's why I said if all the good pitchers won this slate, Dean, and then we've got Coors sitting here with these guys facing Ty Block, then I have much more interest in the Dodgers. Or if this is more of a 10-game slate, 12-game slate, where it's going to be a lot more spread out, maybe I take a different stand. But this is I just think there's enough offense outside of the Dodgers, even on a smaller slate, that I can use those teams. And if the Dodgers score 6 runs today, that's not going to beat me unless one guy hits 3 home runs. Like 6 runs isn't going to beat me on this slate.
The other thing you said, by the way, if they score 10 runs, you're cooked. I don't think you're automatically cooked. Like if it's 10 home runs and 3 guys double dong, okay, then you're probably cooked. But if it's 10 runs and 1 homer and nobody really does spectacular, it's like Blender. If I told you get a home run, you get a leadoff homer from Shohei Ohtani, but nothing else this game, 14 DK points, 18.7 on FanDuel. Do you take that? Do you roster him?
You're not going to need him.
It's not necessary.
Right.
Now he can exceed that, of course. Like he can put up 35 points, but one solo homer is not going to kill you.
I'm going to echo Will's point for all the newbies, the noobs, the beginners that don't get what game we're playing here. The game theory of DFS. If I told you, let's say the Dodgers were going to be 99, literally everyone in your contest was playing the Dodgers. Okay, what is the probability that the Dodgers are the highest scoring? Now we correlate the team total to the highest scoring team, right? So and typically the highest scoring team has the highest scoring stack, but that isn't also true either. There are some teams that put up 7 runs and their stack is every day. Right. They're better.
Not all runs are created equal.
Right. Not all runs are created equal, but there's a probability attached to that. So is the probability worth the ownership? That's essentially what you're doing. It's the same thing. Yeah. You're betting. If you could say that, it's a team is a 4-1 favorite, right? In MMA, a fighter is a 4-1 favorite to win. Like that, if you're getting paid like 50-1 on the underdog, I'm going to take that bet, even though I'm going to lose more often. But when I win way more than I should. So when Will says I'm just going to if Coors is too high owned, I'm just going to fade it and play something else because Coors, he believes Coors is over-owned. All these other stacks are under-owned. It's the same concept of, the most probable outcome is the Dodgers put up a bunch of runs, and that's the winning stack. But you're competing against, everyone else in the field also. So when that happens, it's hard to win. You win more often, a small amount of money, but when the Dodgers don't put up that many runs, you're now in position to win a lot more money when you do win, even though you don't win as often. So it's really that's what we're balancing here. And if you're playing tournaments, like me and you will, when we cash for 1.5x, that it doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost useless. It's okay, I got a little money back. I mean, especially if you're playing a whole bunch of lineups, we're aiming for the top 10.
Yeah.
If I'm not more bullish,
I'll move on to the next day. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll say this too. Last thing, I'm really enjoying this show today because I like to talk strategy, Dean. That's why me and Blender get along so well on these shows. We're I don't know, just strategy. We just click. But I remember, and I think we talked about this before, Blender. There was one night, this was a couple years ago now, but this was a night where both Blender and myself played the White Sox for some random reason. I don't remember why we played the White Sox, but in fact, it might have been against the Braves or something crazy. And nobody, when I say nobody, I'm talking about nobody played the White Sox. And, I think Blender and I were in chat, and I'm like, well, I only played about 4 or 5 lineups. She's like, yeah, I did the same thing. And we looked, and I'm like, oh, Blender, me. The White Sox were just going off, and we just kept pushing. Before you know it, I think both of us had 2 or 3 in the top, 10 or it was something crazy. Like we made good money that night. But we had a side discussion in the MLB chat. But this is like the same. This is what we're talking about. Like when nobody's playing these good teams and everybody's loading up on the Dodgers, like we essentially have the leg up from the time the slate kicks off. Now, whether that materializes, we don't care. It's about the odds of the odds that we beat the field with something else, and that's basically what we're talking about. Sorry about that, Dean. Back to you, Glenn.
No, you're good, man. This is good conversation. We got to fill time. It's an hour and 15 minutes, and it's a 7-gamer until crunch time comes in. So. All this stuff is good stuff. But do want to mention, speaking of killing time, it is Sleet Thursday. Producer Steve has already thrown the first clue up on the board. You guys can play along too. Just don't give away if you actually know it. You're not going to know.
What did you call it? What is it? Is it Sleet Thursday? What did you say? Sleet?
Fleet. I want to sound hip.
Athlete?
No,
really?
Producer Devin came up with it because it's an iteration.
So Devin's the one I have to Fleet. We had to do alliteration so badly that it's like athletic. But we just took off the A and it's just Fleet Thursday. Okay.
It was Producer Devin's creation.
I give points for the cleverness of like trying to come up with something with the TH, but I mean, it doesn't sound very good.
If you think you know the answer, clue number 1 is retired. If you think you know the answer, or just you want to take throw a dart, can't hurt. You got one guess per clue. Go ahead and submit your answer in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord.
They still haven't guessed this jersey, by the way.
They haven't. You're keeping an eye on
jersey. Yeah, no one's gotten it right.
Okay. I mean, yeah, if you're on top of that, yeah, I was trying to look too, and I thought I might have saw it, but maybe I imagined it.
No. We've had a Gerald Henderson and a Gerald Wallace, and I like both of those guys, but neither of those are right. Case in point, I do have a Gerald Wallace jersey.
Yeah.
That's not the one I'm wearing today. I do have one. Corey Maggette comes in hard from Brandon. Brandon, that's actually incredible. Corey Maggette. It's not Corey Maggette, but I do. That's amazing. Corey Maggette.
I remember him from the Magic. I forgot he was in the Bobcats.
He also played for the Clippers. Corey Maggette also played for the Clippers.
Yeah. Well, he was like a stud. Well, no, he was a big time prospect on the Clippers. I think that's where he got to start. If I'm not mistaken.
There we go.
But
yeah. So no one's gotten it yet. Let's keep it coming, folks.
And I don't think anybody's got the retired was not a good enough clue for the people. Answer in the live stream chat channel. You get yourself a week free of RG Premium. All the bells, all the whistles, all the sports, everything you think of, with the exception of NASCAR.
No, keep guessing, Brandon. You can keep guessing. People guess until they get it right.
By the way, I wanted to add to your point of the conversation you guys were talking about. If you ever want to know how well the public understands probability, just go to the responses to Grant's tweets when he's talking about homers. Well, why don't you just pick Aaron Judge? You're a dope. Why do you keep picking Pete Alonso? He hasn't homered in 2 weeks. You're an idiot. It's like the public doesn't understand probability. It's like, well, you want me to pick Aaron Judge at plus 180? You want me to keep doing that? You know how quickly you're going to run out of money? Yeah, that's always. The public doesn't understand. The chat here, they understand. This is the sharpest chat in the business. I would never besmirch the chat.
I'm going to say this, Dean. Casey Douglas and the Sports Connection, closest one so far. Biombo and Kimba.
He's back.
They're getting much closer now. They're getting much closer. The Maggette and the Wallace days, and the Emeka Okafors and the Morrisons and the Sean May, sneaky good guess by Sean May from North Carolina. But Sean May only played in the league for a little while. Tyson Chandler, another one coming in. All right, Dean, let's talk some baseball. But these are good guesses. I'm starting to really enjoy.
Those are some lean years. I want to say those are some lean years, but it's still lean, right? It's just pressure now.
Dean, when I went to those games during those years, the tickets were $3. And now, Dean, Mitchell Mayo comes in hard. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. It is the Michael Kidd-Gilchrist jersey. I will lift my office chair back up now and be back in focus. It is the Michael Kidd-Gilchrist jersey.
He technically didn't spell.
I don't want to be the guy. That wasn't a guess. He's just saying it as a matter of fact that MKG was the GOAT. That's not a guess, is it?
Well,
he's just saying, like, well, he's a great player, which, okay, subjective.
That's what he meant. Well, we're going to give it to Mitchell Mayo. Mitchell Mayo, free week of RG Preem. Talk to producer Steve. We're a man of the people, and hopefully this was fun. Look, D, this could be a thing. I've got plenty of jerseys in the closet. Like, I may have to just start pulling these things out, and maybe we do this on Thursdays for Fleet Thursdays, Blender. I wear a jersey, and then people try to figure out who it was. I will not wear my Gerald Wallace jersey because I've already told you I have that one.
It's been burned.
Or my LaMelo, or my LaMelo Ball, obviously. But yeah, this should be fun.
And what is Blender wearing? I see there's something on his shirt, some lettering.
My shirt, it's either going to be a wrestling shirt or a band shirt. It's going to be one of the two.
Yeah. Which one is it today?
It's a wrestling one.
Okay. Well, now let's get some random wrestlers getting thrown out in chats. Okay. All right. By the way, we did get the Washington lineup, and as suspected, no CJ Abrams for the Nats. Thomas, Winker, Rosario, Ruiz, Garcia, Meneses, Vargas, Senzel, and Young. No Houston lineup just yet. That, again, might take it's a personal issue with Alvarez. It's not like they have to work him out before the game, but who knows if he's available or not. But that game is not starting for about 3 hours.
The ad shows that Alvarez is in. The lineup just came.
Oh, is it? Oh, but okay. Well, I just missed it.
Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez, Diaz, Singleton, Myers, Pena, Dubon.
Okay.
McCord. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. All right. Good to know. Hopefully everything is all right with him. We're probably not going to get the Dodgers or the Rockies. We might. Maybe crunch time will. And then, of course, there's the Royals, the Athletics a little bit later. Baltimore, Yankees a little bit later. I will say that Will Smith will be in the lineup today for the Dodgers because he did not play yesterday. So I just, and it'll be their righties almost. It's probably not going to be Jason Hayward in there. It's probably going to be Chris Taylor and Vargas as we're projecting right now. But, check back and confirm to make sure. It is left on left for Jordan, but it's also Chris Flexen. Will, your thoughts as far as pitching today? By McCormick and, like you said, McCormick and Cabbage was projected to be in for Houston. He is not in. I do not like the chalk pitchers. I don't like it. Seth Lugo at 36%. Not a big K guy. It's not something I can get excited about outside of the matchup, I suppose. The ERA this year has been spectacular. Good for him. He's got a 2.4 ERA, but he's also been really lucky. His Sierra is close to 4. I just, if he beats me, so be it. I guess it's possible, but I don't think that's likely. Your thoughts as far as pitching right now? We're seeing 36% Lugo, Arrighetti at 30%. He's been terrible, but so are his opponents. Like the White Sox are, and Arrighetti has some promise. Like he's shown flashes, and he's been unlucky. If we're going to be fair to him. Over a 6 ERA, the Sierra is only 4.27. The walks are the issue with him. 12% walks. Well, that's the main issue. I can't. Your K rate. Well, K rate is twice as high. His K rate's pretty good actually, but just walking way too many people for my liking. Your thoughts here, Will, when it comes to pitching? You can pitch wherever you want. If you're not playing Dodgers, you can just pitch the ones you think are the best and don't even care about ownership. Where are you at?
Yeah, that's where I'm going to end up. I am going to play some Lugo just because. I mean, while we feel like his K rate's not there, and it's not like in terms of some of the elite strikeout pitchers, do I think he can get 20 fantasy points? I think so, and so as a result, I think he's getting played today. I'm going to play Mackenzie Gore because I think he's got as much upside as anyone on this slate. Like that's probably the guy I'm going to be well over the field on. I am going to throw in some Arrighetti because of the price. But I'm not thrilled about pitching. So I'll be over the field. My pitching pool is very small. I'll have some Heel. I'll have Lugo. Begrudgingly, I'm going to throw in some Castillo. And his projection, by the way, is awful today. Like if you check, I was floored that the bat had him at like 12 fantasy points, and that is just tough terrible. It is, but man, dude, I think my heart is overriding my head here because Castillo hasn't been great. Bottom line, he hasn't been great. But I am going to play him, but not like heavily. But Gore is going to be my highest owned pitcher for what it's worth. That's my main takeaway. Gore is my highest owned pitcher today by far.
I thought I was being a little bit ambitious yesterday. I was part of the expert survey, and last night I wrote up Gore as my favorite pitcher too. And then I saw Squirrel wrote up Gore as his favorite pitcher as well. Spoiler alert. He's also a Washington fan, so he's like, yeah, I'm kind of a homer. And then Dave Potts, I read the Cheese's article, and he picked Gore as well. So in good company, if nothing else. Now, it's not perfect. Arizona's a pretty good offense. They're pretty good against lefties. By the way, my bad. I did say Flexen is left-handed. I don't know why I said that. I don't know what I was doing there, chat. Thank you for correcting me in chat. Flexen is a righty. Throwing baseballs today for Chicago, but nothing is perfect. Nothing is fantastic, but you're going to give me an ownership break with Gore. He's got the highest swinging strike rate on this slate. He's got the lowest SIERA on this slate. He's at the second highest K rate behind Heel. He also has the longest leash, I would say. I was looking at this last night. It's weird that I remember this. 13th in baseball is averaging like 95-ish baseballs thrown per start. So if things are going well, he can go deep into the game. I don't love anything, but that's who if you got to pick me, if I'm going to pick somebody, it's Mackenzie Gore for me. I saw you nodding as well, Blender. I guess you're a fan of the consensus is Gore, but like I don't think it's going to be as popular as it's suggesting with this small sample, just the three of us.
No, I think Mackenzie probably one of the most popular pitchers in the slate. I mean, it'll be spread out enough. I'd rather just in between like Lugo and Arrighetti. Like I prefer. I mean, Arrighetti is obviously 1,900 cheaper than Lugo. These are two good run prevention spots, but like Arrighetti is actually a better strikeout pitcher than Lugo. The BABIP against him, like the past start or two, has been like awful. Like his home run to fly ball rate is just ridiculously high. And those are probably going to come down. Lugo has been getting more lucky. Like Arrighetti has been getting more unlucky. Both are not great pitchers. So it's not like, oh, this is a great pitcher that we're getting, regressing or something. So I'd rather play Arrighetti. Like my number one combination is going to be Gore plus Arrighetti. But I think you could play Logan Allen against the Mariners. I mean, you can play any pitcher against the Mariners for strikeouts. I just understand that they do have power. I mean, the Mariners aren't an awful team. And like another run prevention spot is like Woods Richardson against Tampa Bay or like Littell against Minnesota. I'm not someone that wants to pay $8K for Zach Littell. I mean, I don't know how many 3-4 strikeouts. I mean, Woods Richardson is the same thing. Like, probably not going to get you more than 5 strikeouts. And it's not like he's very good, but he's cheaper at 7,400. I
think Minnesota is more likely to score runs than Tampa Bay, which is why I like Minnesota so much today. For the price.
I could see it. It's just that like these pitchers are okay, and then obviously you could pay up for Luis Gil. He's the highest upside, 10.8K, but I typically don't play pitchers against the Orioles if I could choose, especially in Yankee Stadium. Can he strike out 7 guys today and still give up like 3 runs? I mean, yeah. I mean, sure.
That's actually probably the likely outcome.
Right.
He strikes out 7 and gives up 3.
And I think you're more likely to be spending up on a decent amount of bats today that maybe you can't afford a 10.8K pitcher because I feel like, Mackenzie Gore is nearly 2,000 cheaper than Luis Gil and projects for almost the same. So, like, I don't know. How, if Luis Gil is going to be 10% owned, then I'm much more likely to play him. But I think he still ends up being, 20-ish% owned. Gore ends up like in the low 30s. And then Lugo is in maybe 35-ish, something like that. Arrighetti in the mid-20s. Richardson in like the high teens. Like you can see here that like I don't think there's going to be any pitcher where you're like, well, if I fade that pitcher and then he blows up, like there goes all the lineups. I think that team is the Dodgers for bats, right? I think the Dodgers end up more owned. It's quite possible that there are Dodgers, quite possible, maybe not completely, but quite possible that there's a Dodgers hitter that is more owned than any of the pitchers. which is something that you normally don't see in MLB DFS, right? You typically see pitchers more owned than batters. So I kind of want to take advantage of it by not being scared off of like, well, I can't play Mackenzie Gore because he's going to be 30% owned. Like it's a 7-game slate, 30% owned on DraftKings with playing 2 pitchers is not super owned. That's fine. I can, as long as I'm not playing the Dodgers, I can play whatever pitchers I want.
Yep. I'd swear that number was like 20% or so, like 15 minutes ago for Gore, and it's jumped up to 30. So you guys moved the needle, obviously. That's what's happening. Lugo, 36%, Arrighetti at 29%, Gore at 30, or maybe I just misread it, but I thought he was like coming in at 15 or 20, and now it's up to 30.
That feels right to me, though. That Lugo is probably mid to upper 30s, and Gore's coming in around 30. That feels pretty right to me, Dean.
The one that feels too low for me is Logan Allen, just because he's facing Seattle and he's cheap. And you just start the game with like 3 or 4 strikeouts and you face Seattle. Like he's not great, but he's cheap. And if you want to get the Dodgers, like he's one of the ways to get there. So I think it's a little low at 10%. You guys have a thought as far as Logan Allen? He's not spectacular. No big dumper for this Seattle lineup. No Kyle Rowley. Still plenty of Ks. They're mostly backloaded, but still collectively a whopping 29.4% strikeouts. This season against lefties, this collective lineup. Collectively, the Mariners are either number 1 or number 2 as far as striking out the most against lefties. They're right there with Boston, depending on the day. Allen is not a great strikeout pitcher. 26% against lefties, that's good. 17% against righties, not great. And we have one lefty. And Crawford leading off. You probably get him 3 times, but and like the biggest K guys are backloaded. You probably don't get to them depending on how well things are going. For Allen, you probably don't get the Locklear 3 times, or Robles or Bliss. I just think like he's one of the ways to help you get to Ohtani. There are other ways, of course, but are you guys surprised at ownership, or is that just me on Allen? I thought he'd be a little bit more popular.
Where else would the ownership go? I mean, you already have like Arrighetti at that price range. You have Woods Richardson at that price range. I think Logan Allen comes in at what, like 10 to 15% ownership. I mean, that's fine. Yeah. But I mean, same for all these other guys. So I mean, Arrighetti comes in at 22 and Logan Allen comes in at 14. I mean, it's close enough, right? If you want to play Logan Allen over Spencer Arrighetti, that's fine. I think that's fine. But I don't think it's going to be the type of thing where Logan Allen comes in at 5% and Arrighetti is 40% owned. I don't think it's going to be like that. Like it's going to be spread out enough, because even Gore is not going to be. It's not going to be like ridiculously owned.
I think I'm going to play Allen over Arrighetti. I think it's just I think it's a big enough disparity with ownership as well, and that can also let me play Dodgers if that's the case.
I could let you play Dodgers. I'm giving you permission, Dean, to play Dodgers.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. No matter what you're doing, I'm giving you permission to do
it. Dare you say that I can play whoever I want? Is that something you'd suggest?
Feel free. Be in my contest. Play whoever you want. I don't care.
You can't say it. You can't. People want to hear you say they catch you. Thank you. Could you move your mouth?
I have to leave them wanting more, right?
You got to be quick, man.
Oh, by the way, second clue in Fleet Thursday. Now it gets interesting. And then now all of a sudden you guys can figure it out. Clue number 1, retired. Clue number 2 is family business. Do submit your answers in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Jump in the live stream chat channel. Only one guess per clue. Tell me what athlete we're talking about. And then if you get it right, you get yourself a week free of RG Premium. Brian saying Arrighetti gets rocked today. Maybe. The problem he's facing Chicago. Did want to mention, by the way, you're talking about Yankee Stadium, Blender. It's going to be hot, right? The old heat dome is still a thing, apparently. I'm not sure if that's a deal in New York, but it is hot. 90 degrees, so it's got the fire emoji. Weird, small sample, 51 games. No, not super small, but we've seen a home runs decrease in a sample of 51 games. 5% decrease in homers and 1% decrease in runs. I still think that seems like good hitting weather, but maybe Roth can speak to that when he comes on. He's coming on in about a half hour or so. Will, anything else we should say as far as pitching? We're all kind of sorts of wishy-washy. It seems like collectively we're on Gore. What else should we point out to the people when it comes to pitchers? It's not Nolan Ryan being guest in chat. Does he have a brother or uncle?
Someone got it in the Discord, Steve said.
Unbelievable. Jeez. It's you try to make these things.
These are good. At least, Dean, I give you credit. The clues, the right order. You got retired. It's like, okay.
Yes.
Who knows?
You can't get it in one. You essentially can't get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning, Blender. I'm learning. But we'll still play out the string, but let the people get reps in. You know what I mean? But we already got a winner. Who hit it? Congratulations. We'll shout him out in just a second. But we should give the old summary as far as pitchers, talk about some hitters, talk about some stacks. We'll do so in a second. But, yeah, well, what do you got as far as the summary with pitchers? What do you want to reiterate? What point do you want to hammer home?
I think the point I want to hammer home is Mackenzie Gore is, I feel like, the best option for ownership price upside. I think that's the best option. I do feel like Seth Lugo may be the safest option, if you will. Like, nothing safe, but I'm saying he's facing Oakland, and I know like he's due for some regression, but generally speaking, he has a pretty long leash in his own right. So if he's pitching well and BABIP's in his favor today, this could be a 7-inning, 4-5 strikeout game, no runs scored against him. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying that is a possibility. I think Arrighetti is the cheap option that everybody's going to play. And I think you can take him or leave him. I think you can take or leave Simeon Woods Richardson. I think you can take or leave Allen. What I do think you need to do today is explore more combinations. So sometimes I feel like pitching is a little bit more clear cut. Today, I think combinations are your friend. So, if you can get a, Gore Arrighetti, Gore Woods Richardson, Lugo Arrighetti, like something like that, Lugo, Mackenzie Gore, and still pull it off. I think pitching combinations are your friend today.
By the way, I did see in the Discord somebody saying, like, I guess hearing our conversation about Mackenzie Gore and Eagles Nation's like, woke up this morning loving Arizona stack today. Am I an idiot now? No. Like, you can play Arizona. No Corbin Carroll, by the way. Like, yeah, you can absolutely play Blender. I assume you will talk about stacks in a second, but yeah, you can absolutely, yeah, sure. You can play Arizona. No issues with that. Just you got to pick somebody as your quote unquote favorite pitcher. And I guess collectively, we all seem to like Gore the most. Who won
Once again, Dean, let me repeat. Price, ownership, upside, 8,900.
Yeah.
Some of the highest strikeouts on the slate, and it's going to be, roughly 30% owned, which is probably going to be less than Lugo, less than Lugo, more than Heel, more than Castillo, and above Arrighetti. I just think he's got the best combination today of data points.
I know Casey Douglas was firing off some guesses in the YouTube chat for what jersey you're wearing. I thought he got that, but no, he actually won a week free of RG Premium. He got it correct in the Discord, the old Fleet Thursday. So he was one way or another, he was going to get himself a week free of RG Premium. Blender, what do you want to add? Anything else you want to add as far as pitchers before we move on and talk about some stacks?
Well, let's get the tiers up there. Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Okay, you made our tiers today, Blender. Do you want to go ahead and tell the people what you power ranked?
Okay. Well, I mean, I had 13 minutes to make the tier list because you DM me saying, do you want to do the tiers? It's a little whatever. So
you knew the show was coming. This isn't like, oh my God, I have a show this morning.
I typically, because me and you are on together by ourselves on Wednesdays, and when Will comes on Thursdays, I leave it. I'm like, let Will do the one on Thursday, whatever, So
I included Will, and he just didn't. You were the only one to respond.
He didn't respond, right? So, okay, I'm going to
play. When everybody participated, they want to participate.
Dean, let's respond. Let's actually put this out in a little bit more of a timely manner. Every time you've given this to me an hour or two in advance, I respond and say, "Sure, Dean, I'm fine with the tiers." This morning, I actually had some running around to do, like some adults have to do from time to time. And so I got home and then I saw the message because I wasn't sitting at my computer all morning. So thus,
but I had some waking up to do at 10 o'clock.
But here's the thing. If we're going to be on every Thursday, then what I'll commit to doing is I'll commit to doing the tiers every Thursday, as long as that's going to be our thing. And that fits.
I wasn't throwing you under the bus. I wasn't being accusatory, to be clear. I was just, that was just how it sort of happened. The blender was the one who called it. But yes, I was not running around this morning, to be clear. I was sleeping. I was up late last night doing content, and I woke up at 9:45, 10 o'clock. So like more or less when I woke up is when I got through it. And it took me a while to get there. So yeah, it was not the most prompt, I was surprised to see Blender answer, and I actually had one ready to go if necessary. But Blender.
Well, I just Dean, I just did the Atlantic City version of yesterday's. So
yes,
I played poker
for those who
in
didn't
so
tune
many
in
places.
yesterday.
Yeah, well, yesterday was Las Vegas poker rooms, and this is Atlantic City poker rooms, and this list is like 18 years dated. I don't because I haven't played. I mean, there's 2 places on this list that literally do not exist as buildings anymore.
Okay.
So I was able to just throw it together just for the sake of it. And to be clear, Borgata is number 1, but it's like by default. Like Borgata is probably the nicest casino in Atlantic City, but it's like it would be like an average casino in Las Vegas. So like. It's just by Atlantic City standards, Borgata is the top. Showboat doesn't exist anymore. The Showboat had a poker room of like 4 tables, but it actually was really nice. It was one of the few like Atlantic City poker rooms that like chairs weren't ripped up or anything. The tables are nice. It was in a nice little room, whatever. Yeah. And the Showboat was kind of a dingy kind of casino, but the poker, I mean, you couldn't play there because it was like 2 games of like 2-4 limit holders. So it's like it was garbage. So it's not like you played there. But the room itself was nice. So I'm just judging it on the room, not on the like the action or anything. Harrah's run of the mill. Okay, not great. Kind of, I don't know, just average in general. Not many good games. Then we start getting into the bottom of the barrel. And the places that I played more than the Borgata because the games were better. Tropicana. The darkest poker room you'll probably ever play in. You feel like you're secluded. I mean, it was a big poker room, but God, turn on the lights. Like it felt like you were going in there. Everything's dim, right? And they ran they ran like 7 million games of like 4-8 limit hold. I mean, like it was like a low limit rule, a room. So if you wanted to play with like the $2 chips and like because they would play with the pink chip game, right? Like someone's mentioning that in the chat. You would play like the 8-16 pink chip game and Omaha high-low games where the pots are like 7 million chips and it just feels like you have stacks in front. It's like you have like rubles in front of you. It's like, oh, the chips are only worth like 10 cents, but I mean everyone's playing with like mounds and mounds of chips, so that could be fun a little bit. And then the bottom is the Taj, which is where I would usually play in Atlantic City because they had the best games there, I thought. And that is, I would, in my opinion, I've played, Dean, I've played at racetracks in Florida. I've played at dog tracks in Pennsylvania. I've played in Reno, Nevada. I've played in truck stops in wherever, in Texas or wherever. I don't know, in the South somewhere. The dirtiest poker room when it existed. Obviously, the Taj isn't there anymore. The Taj Mahal is the dirtiest poker room in all the land. The most worn out, the dirtiest chips. And the Sports Connection. We go back. That's the game that I would play. The limit. That's exactly why I went to Taj. I played the 2040 limit game because it was absurd. It was an insane game. And also with the Taj, the cocktail waitresses. I don't want to be like I know it's 2024, and am I going to get canceled for saying this or anything like that? But the cocktail waitresses at the Taj were the ugliest people. Like it's the ugliest people playing. The ugliest people playing, the dirtiest chips, the dirtiest cards, the awful dealers. It's like you walked into like look at me. I'm like an 8 in that card room, like from a 1 to 10. Like I'm an 8, right? I'm not a 10, but I'm an 8.
That's the
See, Borgata's the other way. Borgata, pretty people, right?
You're like a
But
2.
Borgata, the nightclub or whatever like that. There you got all the, the fake Guido types, the Jersey Shore types. The Taj Mahal is where you get like the 72-year-old miserable Chinese people that are just cursing at dealers. Like that's the Taj, right? Borgata
You've been canceled like 4 times in this whole diatribe, I believe. But continue.
What? That's the Taj. See, look, the people that know, right? The Sports Connection someone would throw a chair regularly. We know this is Atlantic City, Dean.
That someone was Blender.
It's the most miserable place in the world. Do not go to Atlantic City. There's stuff go to Pennsylvania to play poker.
Will, do you have anything to add on this? Or
I've seen all of this, Dean. I've seen at the Taj. I've seen this stuff at the Taj.
I've never been, but I feel like I missed out for sure.
Oh,
you sold me on it.
Listen. This is incredible. Like, we just need to start putting 7s in the chat. Like, we haven't done a 7 spam in the chat. Let's do an 8 spam in the chat for Blender. Blender says he's 8. It's a dodgeball. Oh, Blender, this is incredible, man. Blender, what's the last time you played live by chance? Last
Night.
Okay. Gotcha.
Why do you think I made the list yesterday? Yeah, there's a new place I've been going to. So like I'm like, I haven't played poker regularly. I played last year for 3 or 4 months regularly, and then kind of stopped once baseball season came around. But now that I'm back playing normal, so that's why I came up with the list yesterday. It's like, people know Las Vegas. I'll do a tier list of Las Vegas casinos. And then since Dean threw you under the bus for not coming up with the tier list,
that's not what I did.
Right? I'll do the Atlantic City stuff from back in the day. I haven't played poker in Atlantic City since maybe 2007, 2006 or something like that. So these lists don't even exist anymore.
Gotcha.
All right, let's. We're all of a sudden a little bit behind on time. You're not going to believe it.
Oh, we're not behind. Trust me, we're not behind. This will be quick.
All right, first game. Will, you're going to bat first. First game is Arizona. Arizona taking on the Nats. 9 total. Mackenzie Gore, one of the more popular pitchers in the slate, taking on Ryan Nelson. No Corbin Carroll for Arizona. No CJ Abrams for Washington. Will, where are you putting the D-backs and the Nats?
Give me Washington and Harris Cherokee, and give me the D-backs in Tropicana.
Blender, confirm, deny?
I mean, that's I second that notion. I think they're middle of the pack. I don't think, even though Gore, I'm much more likely to play. I'm not much more likely. I'm going to be playing Gore. I'm not going to be playing the Diamondbacks. But you do get leverage. Like if Gore's going to be 30% owned, the Diamondbacks are a leverage stack, so they can't be on the bottom. They can't be hanging out at the Taj, chewing the unlit cigarettes and throwing chairs at people.
They're also pretty good. It's worth noting. They're also pretty good. Right. It's not like they're a nonsense team.
Right. The Nationals against Nelson, I'm perfectly, they're middle of the pack. They go play the tournaments at Harrah's. They had the Harrah's typically ran like a 60 plus 10 every day, and go play that 4-table tournament. It's okay.
Yeah. Hey, you get no pushback from me if we're going to move Arizona to the middle of the pack. No problem.
I think you should move Arizona to the middle. I think Arizona should get bumped up just because there's some added value of the leverage and a good ballpark, good team. The back half's kind of rough, but let's go ahead and throw both teams in the middle. But like clue number 4, it's funny you said, Will. It's funny you said 8s because clue number 4 is Crazy 8 is the name of is clue number 4 today for today's athlete game. You guys both know the answer, right? I was going to ask if you can play along in yourself, but you probably both peeked and saw the answer confirmed in Discord. Yes or no? Oh, you don't know. Oh, maybe you guys.
I haven't looked in the Discord. All I know is that someone got it.
Yeah, well, if you got anything, well, at this point you can throw it out there because we're just getting them reps. Okay, Blender, you're up first. As far as Tampa and Minnesota, that is an 8 total. Zach Littell versus Woods Richardson. Tampa just short of a 4 team total. Minnesota just above a 4 team total. They're a slight favorite here. Where do you have the Rays and the Twins?
This is going to be one where Will's not going to agree with me.
That's fine.
I put To me, the Twins are going to they're going to play that 2040 game. Yeah, they're going to the Taj. I mean, the bet has them as like literally one of the lowest projected teams in the entire. It's like the bet has them and overpriced and lower projected than the White Sox. So, like, to me, yeah, they're not going to get much ownership, but maybe they shouldn't. So I'm putting the Twins. The Twins are going. They're getting yelled at and screamed at by the miserable Asian poker players at the Taj, and the Tampa Bay is not much more than that. So the Rays could go down. They could take the little jitney, go right down the road to the Trop, and play in the darkest poker room you've ever seen, and hopefully you can see your cards.
I thought your best poker stories would be from New York.
Oh yeah, of course. But what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I supposed to list here? I'm going tiers list. Tony's game is top. Tony's game.
I've heard about Tony's game.
Russian game. I mean, what am I supposed to put here? And no one's going to relate to that.
Yeah, like you played with condition, those guys essentially, right? I feel like you've
it's not as shady as it looks in that movie. It's not like that.
But you had the point in the camera. You had to show your face in the camera.
Yes, you did have to do that. You have to show your camera. Take your hat off. Hey, it's not whatever. You get it.
I'm an eight. Look at me.
Right, you have a metal detector. There's some security guy with wanding you. So yeah. I mean, they protect themselves, but it's not like when you go in, it doesn't look like a shady place. It looks like any other. The underground places that I've played are a million times cleaner than the Taj and any of these casinos in Atlantic City. Like they're nicer than the Borgata. So they're not as shady as it looks in those movies.
Will, any issues with Tampa and Minnesota as far as I guess you might have some issues with Minnesota?
Tampa
with the Taj.
Yeah, Tampa no, Minnesota yes. Zach Littell over the past 30 days, 14% K rate to left-handed pitching. Now, mind you, he's faced Boston twice. I think maybe Baltimore twice. He's faced the Braves. So, I understand, the numbers are probably skewed. But I think Minnesota's a team. They're rolling out a fair amount or enough lefties. 1, 2, 3 today. And some really good righties. Minnesota's K rate isn't extremely high this year. And there's a lot of power in this offense. And even on the current season, Littell has been giving up a fair amount of power, pretty high WOBA. I think Minnesota gets it done today. So that's why I like Minnesota a fair amount. And he also doesn't walk a lot of guys, so he's pounding his own. I'm not saying we've got to put Minnesota in the showboat, but I think somewhere in their Tropicana or Haras is pretty good. And I think they're only really expensive because of Royce Lewis. If you took him out of this lineup, Larnach's 39, Miranda's 36, Kepler's 42, Jeffers 43, Santana 38, Buxton 4K, Farmer 2,400, and Martin 2,800. Royce Lewis is basically carrying all of the salary here. So anyway, that's my pushback for Minnesota. I say at least give them up to Tropicana, but let's just know that for me, they're probably going to the Borgata tier today. I really like them personally. That's just personally. That has nothing to do with
when you guys disagree, that's when I come in and break the tie. I agree with Will. We'll compromise and throw him in the Trop. We'll throw the Twins in the Tropicana. I thought Royce Lewis might rest today just because they he's a history of injuries. They kid gloves with him sometimes, right? Day game after a night game. But both Lewis and Buxton are in there for Minnesota today. Mariners, Cleveland, 8.5 total. Luis Castillo versus Logan Allen. Basically a coin toss. Will, the board is yours.
Yeah, both of these teams are going in the middle for me. That's kind of what we're going to see, I think. A lot of middle-of-the-road teams. I like Castillo, but Cleveland, low strikeouts. Definitely some power in this lineup now. And then same thing for Logan Allen. Strikeouts will be there, but he could easily get his face punched in. So I like both of these offenses.
Blender, any issues?
No, but I do want to say to Sports Connection that, yes, I do indeed remember Joe Moon. Poker player at the Taj in Atlantic City. If people knew him, I haven't seen him in 18 years or whatever. If he is the quintessential professional poker player that I've ever seen. Like if I can model myself after any player, I'm not talking about like the playing part of it, but the political part of it. Like he was an extremely good player, and he was like literally like the nicest person. Like anyone could talk to him, and he played high limit stuff. So like most of the time, like every once in a while, like he was waiting for a game, and he would be in my game, but he mostly played the higher stakes stuff. But like he would talk to anyone. And the Taj was the nastiest poker room. And the dealers were berated, chairs were thrown, and he even keeled, if anything happened, he would be the one to settle it down. He would order wine for the table or something. Like he was like the most political poker player ever, because he was one of the best players in the room. So he wants to make sure that
it was his living. He doesn't want the room going away.
Right. Yeah. So there you go. So like I haven't even,
the wine is an investment.
I haven't even thought about this guy in 18 years. So when he brought him up in the chat, I'm like, oh my God, yes. So I just want to highlight that. But yes. So what do we? Yeah,
you said you agree with Will.
Yes, it's middle of the road. I mean, to say that I don't think anything goes above the third tier. So to argue between tier 3 and tier 4 seems moot at this point. I think there are going to be a lot of teams just in the middle today. And we're going to disagree on the ones that should be like in the Borgata and the Taj. But I'm fine with with this.
That's it. Borgata, Taj. Most teams middle of the road. I love it, Blender. Yeah.
Crunch time coming on in about 10, 15 minutes, give or take. We got Stevietpfl, Derek Carty as well coming in, Kevin Roth. Roth will give you an update as far as weather. Going to be a little bit tricky for those later games, and I'm sure he'll do his best. By the way, we did just get a Dodger lineup, and I think it's as is. I'm staring at it right now. Ohtani, Smith, Freeman, Teoscar, Pajes, Rojas, Vargas, Kike Enrique Hernandez, and then Chris Taylor in the 9-hole. I think that was as expected. It feels like it to me, just kind of staring at it. Houston and Chicago Blender, this is your board. Arrighetti versus Chris Flexen. Brandon saying Motel 6 was actually pretty sweet in Vegas. We could do hotels or motels next. But if you want to keep on your Vegas theme, you can do Vegas. I don't know, Circus. Who would be in the bottom? I'm trying to think of the worst possible hotel in Vegas. You don't think of Motel 6.
There's so many garbage ones. I mean, the list would be ridiculous.
Stratosphere? What if we stay on the Strip and don't go downtown?
Stay on the Strip. I mean, none of them are hard. I mean, none of them are as horrible as you think. It depends on what you consider nasty, whether or not the place is nasty or your rooms are nasty. I mean, like Imperial Palace.
Imperial Palace.
I don't know what that's called anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's something else, but it's the same building or whatever. That place smelled. I don't know what the hell is going on in that building. I just remember Imperial Palace, God knows how long ago, and going, wow, this place smells really funny. But that's a lot of casinos, though.
Alex says Gold Coast was his jam.
To be fair, just to it doesn't exist. It's not there anymore. But when I used to go to Vegas a couple of times a year, I stayed at the Frontier.
Yeah, that's for the locals. That's kind of off the Strip, right? The Frontier.
No, that's on the Strip. It's across the street.
Oh, it's way down.
No, it's across the street from the Wynn and Venetian over there. It's right past the Caesars Forum shops. I mean, like it's something else now. It's like
the Rio is the answer, by the way. The Rio is like a ghost town now, is my understanding. I'm
right, not sure it's so far away. It's off the Strip, and they don't have the World Series there anymore.
Yeah, they've really times are rough there in the Rio. Penn and Teller, are they still hanging out there? I'm not really sure, but okay. Houston and the White Sox.
Yeah, I'm making a stand. I'm making a stand because we're not putting the Dodgers in Borgata because of ownership. The Astros are the Borgata team. They're the team
that's the wrong team. That's the wrong team. I'll tell you the correct team later, but that's the wrong team.
That is the wrong team.
I agree with Houston Borgata for what it's
okay.
Like.
So we're putting them in, and the White Sox can't possibly go to the Taj because they're facing a pitcher that's going to be over 20% owned on this slate. So just for leverage purposes, they get to play the pink chip game at the Trop.
Agreed.
Will? Oh, all right. There you go. That was simple enough. We'll move on to the Dodgers. The aforementioned Dodgers taking on the Rockies. 12 total, above 7 total for the Dodgers. Woo. It's just the ownership conversation, obviously. Will, you're going to set the board here, and you've already said you don't like Coors as a general thought, but where do you want to place these teams? The Rockies and the Dodgers. Blah versus Gavin Stone.
I think producer Steve got this one right. Dodgers showboat and Rockies at Harris. I think this is the right call. Gavin Stone is fine, but he's still in Coors. So, I don't think we want to completely write off an offense, especially when they're getting really low ownership. And I think the Dodgers, we understand that the Dodgers are probably the best team for today's slate, but they're also going to have the highest ownership. So they can't go up top because this slate's too small, in my opinion. Agree with where producer Steve has these rankings.
Blender?
I'm fine with that. I mean, I wouldn't even mind putting the Rockies in the showboat, in the little showboat poker room, because I just think if people don't play the Dodgers, they may not even want to. I mean, it always seems like the Rockies are lower owned than they really should be when they play in Coors.
They're too expensive.
The Rockies,
look at the prices are ridiculous and they stink.
Right?
They're in Coors.
But I mean, they're facing Gavin Stone. I'm not scared of that. So I would personally put the Rockies in showboat. But am I going to argue with this? No, not necessarily.
Clue number 5 for Fleet Thursday is streaking. So it's retired, family business, loyalty, crazy 8, and streaking. Feel free to answer. I saw somebody did yes. Well, there you go. Producer Steve, spoiler alert. There you go. It's not Chris Kirkwood. You might be thinking, oh, it's Kirkwood. No, it's not Chris Kirkwood. Does anybody know the official number by chance? Without hitting the old Google, as far as the streak?
21, 34, 38.
No. 21 was a bad start.
20, 22, 30.
No. 26 and change. Yeah.
20. Okay. I'm trying to picture the band because I've seen the clip so many times. And of course, I watched it live when he broke it. And in the middle of the game, they put the big number down. So I'm just trying to picture.
He took a lap around the stadium.
Yeah.
After 5 innings, once again became official.
Became official. Yeah.
26-32, which is pretty bonkers. That is. Wait,
right, 21-30. Yeah, 21-31 is what broke the record. That's what I was thinking of, not what he ended up with.
Okay, yeah. His final number is 26-32.
Okay. That's what I said when he said
I stand corrected.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
He had to extend it 2 more, 2 and change more years, just in case anybody was thinking about the biggest streak in baseball right now. I'm pretty sure you guys know. You want to guess? I'm pretty sure I know who it is. It's for Will's team. So, Will, you might know this. Who's got the current longest streak of not missing a game in baseball?
Ooh. You said it might be probably from my team?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, somebody can hit the Google on this, but one of their best hitters.
Who do you think it is? Do you think
Matt Olson?
It's Olson?
I think it's Matt Olson.
Yeah, I mean Olson's, yeah. I think Simeon would have been close to, but they sat him a day. He was doing the Ironman thing, and they sat him one day this year. So Matt Olson, yeah.
All right, 2 more games left to discuss. Crunch time coming in shortly. Kansas City, Oakland, 7.5 total. Lugo versus Spence. I believe the board is Blenders.
I mean, the A's. I mean, the A's can't go to the Taj. No one wants. I mean, we're not putting anyone in that dirty poker room. Those ugly cocktail waitresses have no one to serve. But the A's can't go in the bottom tier because Seth Lugo is going to be too owned that you're going to get leverage. It's a small enough slate, 7 games that, yeah, if you wanted to take a shot in that, if you wanted to play a 5-man Oakland stack with 3 Dodgers and then take the 2 pitchers that aren't Seth Lugo, I think that's you could make that lineup. That's a large field type of play. And then on the other side of the spectrum, Spence is not going to be much owned. I think the Royals are kind of overpriced. I mean, I think I'd rather play some of the team. I mean, I'd make the case that, I mean, the Royals should be at the Taj, but I mean, I know you're going to say put them in the Trop with all these other
Bobby
teams.
Witt doesn't go to the Taj. You can't do that to Bobby.
Yeah, but we're talking about stacks, Dean. I always have to say this. We're talking about
players getting no ownership.
right?
Kansas City's getting no ownership today.
Why can't I one off Bobby Witt?
Yeah, but that's not what this tier list is.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I guess this is a stack conversation. You're right. Fair enough.
I'm fine. I'm not going to argue. We have tons of people on the list that we go up to the list. Yeah. They're going to be playing the pink chip game, the 4, 8, 6, 12. They're playing with all the dirty pink chips in Tarop. Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I'm just trying to put someone. I'm trying to put someone in the dirtiest poker room in the world.
Will, any issues here?
Kansas City probably would have been at Harsh for me today. But I'm not going to argue with Trop. But I mean, that's one of the teams I'm playing just playing the stack today. So there you have it.
Okay, we'll keep it there. As far as in the Kansas City and Harris, Oakland and the Trop. The next game, final game on the slate, Baltimore, the Yankees, 8.5 total. Luis Heel versus Cole Irvin. We're not sure if we're going to get Aaron Judge. He got hit the other day. Just X-rays were negative, so didn't play last night. But I think there's a chance. We're projecting him currently to play right now. But yeah, what do you have, Will, as far as Baltimore and the Yankees?
Baltimore is going showboat for me because I think he was going to get ownership, and nobody wants to play Baltimore today. And they're one of the better offenses on the slate. And the Yankees are also going showboat against Irvin. In fact, the Yankees may be a Borgata team, but they're showing fairly low ownership right now. I'd probably go Borgata if this ownership stayed the same. Let's go Borgata right now because supposedly this ownership is really low because they're also semi-expensive.
You say nobody wants to play Baltimore. That is going to be my team today, picking on Luis Heel. And I think you're supposed to play both sides of that. I like Heel as somebody who can play, the roster. He certainly can strike out 9 or 10. Wouldn't shock me. But two things I look for, two things I like when it comes to stacking against somebody. Yeah, we just got extreme close up of Blender.
Oh, it's me shaking my head.
That's what happened when Blender says he's an 8. Blender's like, look.
Is he really an 8? Let's hold on a second.
We got to put him on camera. You got to get his close up.
Yeah, Blender, you're shaking your head no. As
I was going to put the Orioles almost in the. I need to put someone in the Taj. We have to keep them open.
No. Why would you?
Someone has to sit in the 2040 game to keep it going. Come on, till I get there. I can't see the Orioles being the top stack of the slate against Luis Gil. Can you play one-offs on the Orioles? Sure. Okay.
Why can't you see it? Why can't you see it? Heel has two things.
There's so many better teams. People are talking about why isn't the White Sox
the best team in baseball at hitting baseballs. I understand you got to hit him. That's the tricky part. But he's been really, really lucky as far as homer on the fly ball stuff to 6% homer on the fly ball. His BABIP 194. His ERA is 2. And good for him. He might start the All-Star game. He's been spectacular. But his Sierra is 370, striking everybody out too. But there's two things I look for. Two things I really like is a ridiculous walk rate, 12%, and a lot of fly balls. A lot of fly balls. A lot of walks, a great offense. It's a short slate, and nobody's going to play him. Baltimore is my stand today. So, you tell me. Look, I wouldn't play him in cash. I'm not, we're Freaky Friday here. I cannot believe that you're not on board with this, Blender. But, Gunnar Henderson, nobody's going to play him. Nobody's playing Gunnar Henderson.
They project 15 points lower than the Dodgers, and they're more expensive than the Dodgers.
Yes.
I don't.
If only there was a course that could explain to me that, we're talking about one-game samples as opposed to, median scores. I'm trying to win, Blender. I'm not trying to win
that's what I'm talking. But that is what I'm talking about. I think it's less likely. This is one concept. It's it's a stack. It's 5 people, which means they have to crush Luis Gil. And I just don't think Luis Gil gets crushed today, which means that most likely the Orioles aren't the top stack of the slate. You need them to be the top.
Have you seen Baltimore's lineup? They crush, they smash. That's what they do.
Okay. They crush. That's your take. That's what you're going to write up.
Give you a whole take. Crunch time's here. We don't have time to really get the takes, but
right. You sound like a caveman. You sound like a caveman. We play Orioles. They crush. They smash.
I'm going to be doing a Stevietpfl head chopper exit today. I've got basketball practice. So when Roth face shows up, my face will disappear. I didn't want Roth or Stevie to think I didn't want to hang out with him. Just want to let you guys know.
Don't
on
worry,
cue.
Will. Don't worry, Will. I'm an 8, so we could. I make up for
There you go.
for all your beauty.
There you
You're
go.
a Taj Mahal 8, to be clear.
I'm
You're
a
not
Taj
an 8.
Mahal 8.
You're
Yes, there
a
you go.
Taj Mahal 8, which is very important to add that descriptive. All right, without further ado, we have Crunch Time coming in. We have Will coming out, as well as, let's see, Stevie. We got Kevin, and we have Derek Carty. If Derek Carty, well, we got to ask Carty. He probably knows. I imagine he's been to these establishments because he's from the area. Let's bring in Crunch Time. So I don't know how often you get out these days, Carty, when it comes to or how close you even are to like the Borgata and places in Jersey. But Blender went on a whole rant about how terrible. Like, well, the Taj doesn't exist anymore, right? But do you have any memories from the Taj Mahal or just the general area when it comes to the gambling establishments in Jersey?
Yeah, I was kind of curious who made that list. I mean, Borgata
Blender.
one makes sense, but is the Showboat a good casino? I don't.
Well, they had a little small like 4-table poker room that, in comparison to the Trop and the Taj, were like luxurious. I mean, like not the Borgata level, and that Harris is like in the middle. I mean, of course, this list is from like the last time I played in Atlantic City was like 18 years ago, right? So like that's what the list is based on.
Okay, and it's based on their poker rooms, not like the entire
poker rooms. But really, I mean, the Taj. It doesn't matter if it's the poker room also, right?
18 years ago, Blender deemed himself a Taj Mahal 8. If you were to be the type of person that would put numbers on people's looks, he called himself a Taj Mahal 8.
Yeah. Carty would be too, like, if Carty went into the Taj, he'd be like Carty Roth. I mean, you would go around. You'd have all the ugly women around you. They would be flocking to you. At Borgata, you'd be a dime a dozen. Borgata, you're like, okay, we got some average guys here. You go to the
I'm
Taj.
a Borgata 10. Come on.
Big fish, small pond, big fish. All right. Roth, do you have any memories of going to the Borgata? I've never partook in it. I never made it to Atlantic City.
So the only casino I had ever been to was like the Wynn or somewhere nice in Vegas. And then at my first TV job, I was in Greenville, Mississippi, and they have a casino. So I just assumed, like I put my suit on, I got all fancy for my casino experience. Oh man, it was a whole new world out there. It was like 5 cents, like table games and people carrying their own oxygen tanks. It was not the Vegas experience.
Is that by Biloxi? I think Biloxi is like the big one. Is that close to Biloxi?
No, it's like literal middle of nowhere, Mississippi Delta, just backwards down.
Bay St. Louis is a place I stayed in once when we were going to New Orleans. We could not afford we were going to hang out for Mardi Gras. And was it Bay St. Louis, Mississippi? And yeah, that does sound very familiar, what you're describing. There are some interesting casinos around there.
Yeah.
Stevie, you're with us? Yes?
Why are you still here?
Well, we were just seamlessly segueing. I wanted to say hello to you, too. No, things are going
Hi,
well in the
Dean.
world.
Bye, Dean.
Well, all right. I guess we're getting kicked out. Blender, we got to go. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Crunch Time is here. You got Roth. You got Carty. He's a Borgata 10. And you got Stevie as well. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. I'm going to take you up to lock. We're going to give you some bats. We're going to give you some pitchers. We're going to give you some home runs. We're going to talk stacks. We're going to do all those things. But first, we're going to say hello to the man, the myth, the legend. It is Stevie in the house. Sorry, Carty. That's not you. We got Stevie in the house. What up, Stevie?
I'm good, man. I said it in YouTube chat. Tried a new matcha latte this morning. I'm in a good mood. I figured I'd be in a good mood for Carty because I always give him crap. And then Dean just wouldn't stop mumbling. So I was like, all right, we gotta move on. We need to know the Minnesota weather. So like Dean has to go. But yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. And I can help you with that in just a bit. We got the Borgata 10 himself, Derek Carty. What up, Carty? How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Thinking about my days back in Atlantic City.
Were you a big go to the casino guy?
Not really go to the casino. Like I'd play some poker occasionally, but more, I mean, Atlantic City's never been great, but like you go down for like the club scene every once in a while, like just because.
Club and Carty.
I can see that though. Can't you see that though? Yeah, I can see that.
And every time I hang out with Carty, he's like, "Let's do shots. Let's do shots."
Yeah,
like, it's the Atlantic City coming out in him. I like that. Well, Carty, you need to help us navigate through the slate. First, we need to talk about the weather, which kind of begins and maybe even ends in Minnesota. It's going to rain in Minnesota. My current thought is that they're just going to play through it. They're just going to deal with it. There's some light rain moving in right around first pitch. If they don't announce a late start for that, then they'll play through that. They'll get an hour or so of clearing, and then more light rain moves in middle to end of the game, and they'll probably play through that. So assuming we do not get a late start announcement shortly, my lean is that they're going to just play through everything. If we do get a late start announcement, I have no idea, like no earthly idea what they're going to do at that point. So I hope we don't hear that, because that could bring in potential postponement. It just, a late start would really make me scratch my head about what the plan is. So that's kind of where I'm at in Minnesota. I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do, but I think they're just going to play through it. Other quick notes, there is a low chance of delay in both Chicago and Cleveland. I know we want pitchers in both of those spots. And I think for both of those spots, you just eat that low risk, 10 to 15% chance of a delay maybe. You just eat it, and it probably works out fine. So that's where I'm at weather-wise, and that's pretty much all I got. Carty, is there anything else you need to know from me?
No, I think that covers all the main weather spots.
Okay, very good. Well, then, and Colorado's not on this slate, correct?
It is.
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there's also a chance of there's also storms in Colorado. I think it's just like a delay. You know,
There's always a chance of something in Colorado, and it always plays.
Always. There's always a chance for storms in Colorado. They rarely go over the ballpark, and if they do, they always seem to figure it out and play anyways. I've heard some people asking about, is the potential storms in Colorado going to limit the ball flying? No, it's elevation. Like it's Colorado. It's Coors. No matter what the weather is, it's still Coors. So I'm not concerned about that.
And expecting what, lightning bolts to shoot out of the sky and knock the ball down?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really understand the questions, but I've seen a few people ask me about it. It's still going to be fine. And that's pretty much it. That's the weather spiel. Maybe a lot to say. Kind of ignore the weather and hope it works out, because that's what I think you should do on the slate. With that, Carty, walk me through what we're doing pitcher-wise, both in cash and your thoughts in GPPs.
Yeah, so this is not the best slate for pitching. The guys that are like the best pitchers on the slate aren't in like very good matchups. Luis Castillo is in Cleveland against the super low K Guardians offense. Luis Hill is against the Orioles. Like it's kind of a gross slate. I'd say your top tier before you consider price is like Luis Hill, Seth Lugo, Mackenzie Gore. Gore is the cheapest of the three. And so I think Gore's the guy that I have the most interest in playing. It looks like the field is going to be on Lugo a little bit more against Oakland. I actually don't mind playing some Oakland State because of that. But of those three, I think Gore's the one I like the most. After that, there's a bit of a drop off, and you have a tier of maybe like 5 to 7 guys that are all pretty comparable. It's like Zach Littell, Spencer Arrighetti, Simeon Woods Richardson, and Logan Allen. Allen is the cheapest of them. They all are pretty similar. So Allen's the one I like the most, and he projects for lower ownership than both Arrighetti and Woods Richardson, and I guess Littell too. So, you said there's like a 10% risk of delay there, but I still think, I think he's one of the better pitchers he might be the best pitcher on the slate once you consider price and ownership.
Okay. That's all we got.
On FanDuel, you got Logan Allen and Arrighetti pretty similarly priced, so I could see it going either way. But yeah, that's kind of the same thing.
Okay, Stevie, can you kind of rank these not good options for me?
I hate agreeing with Carty.
Yeah.
I think Allen is a phenomenal play today. We know, like Seattle, they have power. It's not really showing up this season, but if we look at like a larger sample size, we know they have a lot of power. But they're striking out at a huge clip this season. So like Logan Allen, he has some strikeout ability. Woods Richardson in this lower range, I think, is really interesting against Tampa today. That's the Minnesota game. That's why I was like kicking Dean off the show, because trying to decide what I want to do with like Woods Richardson today, whether or not I want to play him like in the weather or not. Like I have my build right now has like 30% of him. I might just kind of lower it down to like around 20% and bump up Logan Allen a little bit, because those are the two guys that I'm kind of deciding between. Arrighetti, I mean, he has some strikeout ability. He's just going to be really popular today, and I just don't know if he's as good as people think he is. Maybe he will be in the next couple of years, but right now, like, there's just a lot of raw talent with Arrighetti. So we saw last time out against Detroit, he really got banged up. I think the guy you're paying up for today is Mackenzie Gore. Like, he's your ceiling option. Arizona, very good offense, way better against left-handed pitching. But if you're just chasing ceiling, Mackenzie Gore's the guy, and it's, a smaller slate. So I think Gore is my favorite. I don't mind Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo chalk sounds disgusting. Hill, like, I think he is very interesting against Baltimore. It's like a boom bust spot. So like, he's your large field tournament play over Lugo, in my opinion, just because like Lugo is going to go out and probably put you up like 15 to 20 points. Could potentially get beat up a little bit. I don't think Lugo has a huge ceiling like some of these other guys. So that's kind of what I'm doing at pitcher today. There's a few other names you could potentially roll out. I don't like Luis Castillo. Cleveland's a low strikeout team. I definitely don't want to play Cole Irvin against the Yankees. They're a low strikeout team. Gavin Stone's a low strikeout pitcher in Coors against the Rockies. Mitch Spence is a pitch to contact guy. Chris Flexen shouldn't even be pitching in the majors. So I'm just going to kind of go with these guys today. The 5 or 6 games I mentioned.
Okay, let's flip it and talk stacks. I've already got some questions coming in. Do you like Cleveland or Baltimore better? But Stevie, just walk me through your list of stacks from top to acceptable.
Dodgers. I mean, you're playing the Dodgers as much as you possibly can today. They're going to be the chalky stack, but I mean, you could get different with Ohtani lefty. You can get different with Freeman lefty. The Rockies bullpen, they still don't have a lot of lefties in that bullpen, so you're going to get 1 to 3 at bats for Freeman and Ohtani against a righty in that game, and they're on the road in Coors. Like you said, a little bit of weather concerns, but I don't think it's something that's going to wash that game out. So, I mean, overall, it's the Dodgers. It's not even close. Like, they're in a tier of their own today. And then after that, I really like Houston. I think their lineup just really banged up right now, but I mean, they're in a fantastic spot against Chris Flexen. I like the Royals. They're like my low-owned stack today. Spence is a pitch-to-contact guy, so I ended up playing more Royals than I expected to when I was building lineups, and some slight interest in the White Sox because, again, I just don't know if Arrighetti is, like, if he's good or not. Like, we really don't know, and people assume that, like, he's just really good, and, like, we just haven't seen it yet. We've seen, like, moments of brilliance, but, like, overall, like, he's hittable. Like, he's been hittable. He's command. He throws too many pitches over the plate, Roth. Like, you know that. You're not a baseball guy. He throws too many pitches over the plate.
You got to paint the black. We got to paint the black.
So,
you can't be throwing meatballs.
I know.
Terminology there.
So, no, I mean, that's what I'm looking at. Like, the Dodgers, tier of their own, some Houston, some Royals, and then the White Sox against the chalky Spencer Arrighetti.
Okay. Carty, your favorite stacks? Dodgers.
I hate agreeing with Stevie, but I like a lot of the same stuff. Dodgers are obviously fantastic. Aside from them, I like the Rockies a lot. Yankees, Astros. And then I like the two pitchers that look like they're going to be kind of the most overowned today, or that the field is too high on, is Lugo and Arrighetti. And so playing some White Sox, playing some A's, I'm totally on board with that today.
Okay. Can we talk about a dude? This is completely unrelated to anything, except I just saw the stat and it blew my mind. Do you know what Stephen Kwan is hitting this year, Carty?
Like,
what his batting average is? Yeah, batting average.
I mean, he never strikes out. It's got to be like 330 or something, right? Is it high?
It's almost 400. It's like 397. Like, how on earth is that? It's like 70 points higher than whoever's next. He's just absolutely smashing. I want to play.
Contact ability is just insane.
It's amazing. I want to stack. I just want to play that guy every night, but I guess he doesn't really hit home runs too often, though we did last night. And he doesn't steal bags either. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, no power, not a lot of speed.
Yeah, I guess that's not a great DFS combo. But anyways, I saw that and I just like, I don't know how I hadn't known that prior to this point because that's amazing. Let's go around the horn.
It reminds me of Ichiro's like contact skills, like no real power, but like you never expect him to strike out, and he's like the model of the old like leadoff hitter. Like he's just
get on base.
He's gonna So.
Get on base, baby. Let somebody else drive you in. All right, let's talk about position by position. Stevie's got to be out in exactly 26 and a half minutes, but that's plenty of time to go around the horn and give some home run picks and answer some questions as well. Carty, what are we doing at catcher?
If you can afford Will Smith, you do that because he's Will Smith. He's in Coors Field. Do we have a Dodgers lineup yet, actually? I mean, assuming he's in the lineup today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their lineup came out, I thought.
Oh, it came out. Yeah, okay. He's in there. He's hitting second.
Yep.
So, yeah, Will Smith's your guy. Even on FanDuel where you don't have to play a catcher, like he's easily above every first baseman on this slate. Like you play Will Smith anyway. I kind of like in terms of like pivots, different stuff. I think the mid-tier is actually really good today. You have like Yiner Diaz against Flexen. You have Mitch Garver in Cleveland for cheap. You have Keibert Ruiz against Ryan Nelson. I think any of them are going to be good pivots off of Will Smith for builds where you need to save money at catcher.
Okay, Stevie, some names.
Yeah, I mean, Will Smith, obviously, Rutschman, Perez, like any of those three guys. If you want to pay up for any of those three guys, do it. They're the best hitting catchers on the slate. It's not close. I don't mind Mitch Garver on non-Allen teams. He's a guy that has a lot of power, and he typically has more power against left-handed pitching. Jose Trevino against Irvin, the cheap catcher. He's going to hit towards the bottom of the Yankees lineup today, assuming that lineup comes out and he's in there. He's a guy that's been really good against lefties this year. It's a small sample size, but I don't mind that. And then, like, if you just want to punt with Ruiz against Nelson, he's a catcher that's 3K hitting fourth. So you're not going to get many better lineup spots for the price. And I love saving money at catcher.
Makes sense. How about first base, Stevie?
Yeah, I mean, another one of those spots where, you try to get Freeman, Ohtani as much as possible. You could play Ohtani in the outfield. I know Ohtani's expensive. I know Freeman's lefty-lefty. It doesn't matter when you're Ty Bloch. Like, he sinks. He's just not a good pitcher. He's not going to go out there and blow the doors off of these guys. He's a soft toss and lefty. So, like Freeman or Ohtani at the top. Like Josh Naylor as a low-owned play today. Luis Castillo, good pitcher. Tough matchup. But Josh Naylor's a good hitter. And I think this is a guy that could really benefit in the matchup against Castillo, who is kind of splitsy. Pasquantino, Montero are two other names that I have in my pool today.
Okay. Carty first.
Yeah, I love Ohtani if you can get up there. I like Freeman quite a bit. I like the Naylor call. If you need to save money, Montero's the guy you do it with in Coors. And then if you want to make your Rocky stack a little bit different, you can play Michael Toglia here. He's more expensive by a lot. But he's hitting cleanup. He's looked pretty good lately. So I think he's a good option. And then, I mean, that's kind of it. Like, if you're doing like the White Sox, Oakland kind of thing, like Andrew Vaughn hitting cleanup against Arrighetti is cheap enough. I kind of like him. So that's probably the other place I'd look.
Okay. Take me to second.
All right. Jose Altuve is going to be our top guy here. Not necessarily a priority at his price, but he's definitely good. It's a big park upgrade for Houston. They're facing a bad pitcher in Flexen. Even though I like Logan Allen, Dylan Moore hitting second, especially on FanDuel where he's only 2.8K, I think he's going to be a good play there. You're going to have your Dodgers guys. There's pinch hit risk for sure, but Miguel Vargas, Kike Hernandez, both are definitely in play at their prices. And then on DraftKings on the other side of that game, Adele Amador, for whatever reason, he's just always like almost min price for the Rockies, and he plays kind of a crappy position. And he's not great by any means, but he's still a guy in Coors Field that plays second base and is almost free. So I like Amador a lot at second because I don't really love the high-end options too much. So I think just saving money with him is probably my preferred route on DraftKings.
Okay. Stevie, your thoughts at second?
Yeah, I mean, I mirror a lot of those thoughts. I will say, like, Ketel Marte, he's probably a better hitter from the left side of the plate, but he definitely has more power from the right side of the plate. So if you want to play Ketel Marte against Gore, I mean, when Gore does struggle, it's typically right-handed power with home run issues. So I think Ketel Marte to pay up to be different is fine. Altuve at the top is great, and then the Dodgers and Rockies when you're saving some money. I don't hate the Dylan Moore call. I think Seattle's really interesting on like teams you're not playing Allen because I think it could go either way today.
How about third?
Yeah, I mean, I like Jose Ramirez just because he's Jose Ramirez and he's just a really good hitter. It's a tough matchup against Luis Castillo. He's 6,100. I just don't think a lot of people are going to be playing him today because Ryan McMahon has Gavin Stone and Coors for what $1,000 cheaper. Royce Lewis in that game for Minnesota. We didn't talk a lot about Minnesota yet, but they're in an interesting offense. Like you said, if we don't get a announcement that game's going to be late started, we should play through some light rain. So don't mind that. Bregman. And then on the bottom end, I mean, again, going back to that Coors game, you got Kiki Hernandez. He's 3,200. He's going to likely be pretty popular for the Dodgers today, but hard to argue the spot against the soft toss and lefty.
Okay. Carty, any other names you want to add in?
I mean, you can play Dylan Moore at third also if you're not playing him at second. On FanDuel, you can play Chris Taylor at third, but I prefer Kike as well, especially on DK. He's just clearly the guy you save money with. If you're gonna do maybe we can hit home run off a Gore thing, like Eugenio Suarez is cheap enough where you can take a shot like that. And then if you really want to save money, Alan Trejo is in the lineup for Colorado today, so 2.5K for him is not terrible.
Okay, shortstop.
Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson are kind of in a tier among, by themselves today. And honestly, I think Witt is even maybe in a tier above Henderson. Henderson has to face Luis Gil, facing one of the best pitchers on the slate. Maybe that makes him a little more appealing in tournaments because people will gravitate more towards Witt, who's against Mitch Spence. I like Anthony Volpe against a bad lefty for the Yankees. I like Jeremy Pena potentially for Houston. And then we're back to Dodger stuff, Miguel Rojas. I think he's the guy I like the most. On FanDuel, you can still play Dylan Moore over here. And there's one other guy. Do we have an Oakland lineup yet?
I haven't seen one yet.
Well, if Max Schumann is hitting leadoff, which he's done a couple times lately, I think him for 2.9 on FanDuel as part of that like Oakland leverage mini stack against Lugo. I think he's probably part of that.
Very good. Stevie, your thoughts at short?
Yeah, I mean, shortstop's probably the tightest position I have today. I'm playing Witt as much as possible. I think that he's just the guy you want to spend up for outside of like Ohtani and Freeman. Henderson, I always love playing him. I don't care the matchup. He's just an elite hitter. I like the Volpe call. And then again, like Pena, Rojas, Vargas, all fine. Going back to that, Coors game. There's going to be a lot of runs in Coors today. Two pitchers that really don't have the ability to throw the ball by anybody. We should see a lot of runs in Coors.
Okay. Outfield.
Yeah, I mean, outside of like stacks, I love Yordan Alvarez today. He was out with a personal matter. It wasn't like he was hurt or anything. He's back in the lineup. Chris Flexen stinks. No reason not to have like prioritize Yordan Alvarez today. Teoscar Hernandez is back in the lineup. He left the game last night. Doesn't sound like it was anything serious. So he's been absolutely excellent against left-handed pitching for years now. So like him. Stanton against a lefty like Irvin is always interesting. Judge, if he's back in the lineup, is interesting. So, yeah, I mean, Dodgers, we don't have to tell you guys to play Ohtani, right? Like, at the end of the day, you're playing Ohtani as much as you possibly can. It doesn't matter lefty-lefty. He's one of the best hitters in baseball, if not the best hitter in baseball. So, and then the cheap guys for the Dodgers are fine. I really like Gavin Sheets on the cheap end today. Again, I like a little bit of White Sox. Gavin Sheets hitting second today for the White Sox, really cheap. And man, this guy, he's a really solid hitter on the wrong team. You know, I wouldn't call him good like I did with Alec Boehm and Carty poo-pooed on him, and then Boehm went on a 30-day I'm hitting everything streak. So maybe, hey, I need you to tell me Gavin Sheets stinks too.
I'm not going to tell you that. Sorry.
Darn it. I know. I was like making sure to put it into my like brain that like, all right, Gavin Sheets next 30 days. But all joking aside, the Houston outfielders are fine. The Royals outfielders are fine. And then don't forget about the Yankees. That's that 4:05 game. It's the late game. We're not going to have a lineup likely before lock happens. Don't forget about the Yankees today. Irvin is a guy that's very hittable, and the Yankees have a ton of power.
Yeah, it's also 90 degrees there. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Eric, says, I love Stanton today. It's so hot in the Northeast. And yes, it is. Take advantage of those warm weather games. That is the move. Carty, some names you've got for me in the outfield?
The course stuff is kind of the highlight. Like the Dodgers have 5 outfielders on DraftKings.
And they're all legit.
They're all great. Yeah. You have Ohtani, Teoscar. You also have Pajes. You have Chris Taylor. You have Miguel Vargas. Like, they're all going to be good plays. On the other side of the game, you know, Jake Cave, Brenton Doyle, I think look good. I like the White Sox stuff. Stevie mentioned Sheets. I think Benintendi for 2.5K is definitely kind of part of that if you're going to do the leverage thing against Arrighetti. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the main thing. You know, Oakland, we need to see their lineup, but like Butler for 2.1K against Lugo, you can certainly put, you know, in your little Oakland mini thing for leverage. He's cheap enough and he'll make other stuff work. So yeah, that's outfield.
Okay. Very good. The people want some bomb calls. So you guys take a little moment, think about who you like. Stevie, I prefer maybe 2-3 names, something like that. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I got to get a lefty master in here just for Carty. Give me Stanton to go yard.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, give me Stanton to go yard. He's definitely a lefty masher, so I like him. I like him just because the dude just when he makes contact with the ball, it's just hard. Like that's what I love about Stanton. He's swinging for home runs. He's not going out there swinging for check swing doubles like Joey Votto used to do. So Stanton, Alvarez, and Gavin Sheets. Let's go cheap off of Arrighetti.
I approve. Carty, you got a few names for me. And after you give some home runs, give me the best home run bet according to the bat.
Yeah, so by far today, Aaron Judge has the highest chance of hitting a home run according to the bat. In terms of something a little more off the radar, Anthony Santander is actually showing pretty good chance of a home run today, which is, I mean, he's not a guy I would really consider in a tough matchup, but maybe in tournaments, he's a guy that'll make you different and has a shot to go deep.
Okay.
In terms of bets, so our top bet today is Fernando Tatis plus 500.
Seems solid.
Yeah, no, it's sometimes you get a weird guy. I forget who it was the other night where I'm like, he only has a 7% chance, but
but the odds are like plus 1450 or something insane. You're like, all right.
Tatis at least has like a 20% chance to hit a home run, so plus 500 is solid value.
Very good. Okay. Hey, if you guys haven't signed up for RotoGrinders Premium yet, what are you doing? Yeah, we have free content like this, but all of the tools, you got to open up the hood here and see the engine that runs RotoGrinders. You can get access to all of our fantastic stuff, RotoGrinders Premium, all kinds of sports. We've got an option for whatever level you're looking for. 6-month combo sub, exclusive price $469.99. That's a savings of $250 as opposed to buying 6 individual months. So you buy big. It's like Costco here. And then if you want, you can just go month to month. You get your first month of RG Premium off, $40 off for limited time. Or if you want a test run, 3-day pass is $19.99. Many different options, all the same absolutely fantastic product. So make sure you are joining RG Premium. Hit us with a thumbs up, by the way. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or in the RG Discord. I'll see what we've got. Tom says, Carty, I need the DK cash pictures. I came in late. Sorry.
So I don't think there's necessarily like guys that you have to play in cash on DraftKings. Personally, my pairing that I like the best, I think, is Mackenzie Gore and Logan Allen. But there are other guys that you can play. Like you can play Seth Lugo if you want to. You can play Arrighetti. You could play Woods Richardson. I think it's some combination of those 5. But I think Gore Allen is the combo that I like the best.
Okay. Monty in the chat says, speaking of Joey Votto, were we speaking of Joey Votto? I don't know. His first game with the Dunedin Blue Jays was last night. Dunedin is the small town that I am from. It's a tiny, tiny little place. That's where I'm from. Shout out. Stevie, you a Joey Votto fan?
Who isn't?
I'm a Joey Votto fan for sure. For years I just made fun of his check swinging with 2 strikes. Or choking up. It was choking up with 2 strikes.
Aren't you supposed to do that? That's what they taught me when I was like 7 years old and playing baseball.
Not when you're paying up for him at first base to hit home runs.
That is annoying. Yeah, you're not looking for a slap single at that point. I get it.
But he has so many funny like short videos out there of like what he does with like fans and stuff. So yeah, I'm a Votto fan.
Okay, I didn't know. All right, we like him. What else do we have? DK single entry. Carty, do you want Stone or Spaghetti? I believe that would be Arrighetti, but we should call him Spaghetti.
That's what I call him on the podcast.
I like it.
So if we're being honest, the answer is neither. Arrighetti's the better play, but he's going to be overowned, so I really don't have interest in Arrighetti today. And Stone in course, I'll pass on that. Find someone else. Play Logan Allen, play Woods Richardson, something like that instead.
Yeah, and I'll remind folks that Coors, maybe of all the games, has the best chance of a delay. So it's already, playing pitcher in Colorado always has some inherent risk, double so when there's actually weather concerns as well. Chris Brown says, Barry Bonds choked up. Yeah, but nobody could ever get 2 strikes on Barry Bonds, so it was rare. He hit the first one for a bomb every time.
He choked up and still swung hard, though. Joey Votto chokes up and tries to like slap the ball. A huge difference.
Here we go. Dean coming in hot with the A's lineup. It is Schumann at Shore, and then Schumann, Blade, Andujar, Rooker, Soderstrom, Butler, Geloff, McCann, and Diaz. Geloff?
Isn't that a beautiful Major League Baseball team lineup?
I know. How many of those guys do I know? None. Maybe McCann? Yeah, McCann. I know that dude.
Notable lefty masher, James McCann.
That's how I know him, I think.
I wonder what happened after we haven't heard about him in quite a few years now. I wonder why.
He just forgot how to mash the lefties.
I guess he forgot. Yeah.
But that's not even James McCann, guys. It's Kyle McCann. You should at least know that because you are the guy that does the bat and projections. You should know that James McCann is not on Oakland.
I didn't think he was, but I was like, I didn't know.
I know. Listen, you saw red. And you're like, all right, James McCann. Oh, I can make fun of the lefty mashers. He plays for Baltimore, by by the way.
I had to shoot my shot.
I know, and then you shot it straight into your toe. So that's fine. That is lefty masher karma, Carty. That's what that is.
Right. It's also removes the one player I know from the team. It means I know 0. I officially now know 0 players on their team. All right. If you guys have any questions, get them in. We have about 7 to 8 minutes before Stevie's going to bounce on out of here because he's got a pod to knock out. These questions can be about baseball, food, or the circus. Baseball, food, or the circus. Those are your allowed questions. Brian Marshall says, DK GPP. Stevie, what do you think about Heel and Gore with cheap White Sox?
Yeah, I don't hate it. Like, if you're just looking at strikeout rates and like the ability to strike people out, those are probably your 2 best strikeout pitchers on the slate. So Baltimore is one of the best, if not the best, offense in baseball. So, like, the risk going in. It's just if you're attacking just pure ceiling, like, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to pick 2 guys I think are going to get 20 plus strikeouts combined. I think that's not a bad strategy for tournaments.
Okay. Carty, FanDuel cash question here. Freeman, Willis Smith, or Teoscar?
Will Smith before the other. I mean, they're all great, but Will Smith first.
Yep. DK GPP's Carty, I'm coming to you. Stacking Houston Dodgers 3v3 here. Yanier, Alvarez, Geloff, or Smith, Vargas, and Dylan Moore?
It's probably Smith, Vargas, Dylan Moore. I mean, that's the better combo. It'll be a little more expensive or a little more owned as well, but it depends on the rest of your lineup.
Okay. FanDuel single entry, better one-off. Stevie, you want Buxton, Low, or maybe Lau, or Sheets? Buxton, Low/Lau, or Sheets?
That one's close. Give me Brandon Lau.
Okay. I'm going to make it work for this one, Stevie. DK Cash, we need an outfielder, and DK Cash at 3,800 or cheaper. Who you got?
Let's pull up a lineup HQ, sort by salary. I mean, Gavin Sheets, I think, is very cash playable. In my opinion, I like Gavin Sheets. I wish Jacob Young would hit higher in the lineup because he's a guy that can get it done so many different ways for Washington. We didn't talk about them a lot, but I don't hate that. But then cash, I would probably just go like Bouchard at 3,500, hitting second in cores against Gavin Stone.
Very good. Carty, coming to you. FanDuel GPP. Will you play Arrighetti or Heel? Is this? I mean, those we talked about how you didn't like either of them on DK, right? What about FanDuel?
Well, no, Heel I think is fine.
My bad.
I don't love Arrighetti at elevated ownership. Heel, I don't think will have that because he's kind of expensive and he's against the Orioles, but his upside is higher than pretty much anyone on the slate. So in tournaments, I'm good with him.
There you go. That answered our guy Buttho's question, which is any Heel love today? Yes, it seems we have some. Carty Manesh says, who would you stack on the White Sox and how many?
It depends how ballsy you want to get. I mean, you can do a full stack. I think a mini stack probably makes more sense. But really, any of the top 5 guys, I think, are firmly in the mix. Even Maldonado at catcher for the minimum, you could throw into a stack if you wanted. But I think Benintendi, Sheets, Vaughn, Robert. Yeah, I mean they're kind of. I mean the top 5 guys. They're the guys that are actually major league caliber hitters.
Yeah. Okay. Important question from Dean. I will let either of you, if you have a strong take, answer this question. Your favorite Cirque du Soleil show? Do either of you have a strong lean on your favorite Cirque du Soleil?
It's the Beatles' Love.
Let's go. That's what I was
too.
going to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that one. That one or O. I really liked O. The way that they moved through the water and stuff during O was phenomenal. But Beatles Love is those two. Like those two are my favorite two. My wife loves Cirque du Soleil, so like anytime we go to Vegas, we have to see like 1 or 2 shows. So of the shows that we've seen, I think those are my 2 favorite.
Yeah, at a RotoGrinders party roughly 10 years ago in Vegas when we were still doing that. My wife and I saw the Beatles one there, and it was.
We probably saw it at the same time.
Maybe. It was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. What else do we have here? What do you think of a Seattle stack on FanDuel? Stevie, you getting crazy with a little Seattle stack on FanDuel?
I don't think it's the craziest idea. It would probably be like if you're playing 20 entry max or like a 150 build. I don't think it's like a single entry build for Seattle. I think there's plenty of ways to get different. They have the power. It just hasn't showed up. Like if you look at a larger sample size, you kind of mix in last year, this year, maybe even a larger sample size. Like Moore has power, Rodriguez has power, Garver has power. So like Allen, when he struggles, is right-handed power bets, and they have the right-handed power. It's just they haven't showed it yet this year. And they got Locklear should potentially. I don't know if Seattle's lineup is out or not, but Locklear should be in there. He has some power at AAA. So yeah.
Okay, great. Carty, we're going to make you work here. FanDuel GPP 2,900 or less in a FanDuel GPP. I assume this is the util. I assume it must be the util because he did not mention a position.
All right. Well, let me pull up a list here. 2,900 or less. So Montero looks like the best option there. 2.8K in course.
Okay, great. Goomba's pointing out that this McCann, ironically enough, is a righty masher. He's not a lefty masher like other McCann. He is a righty masher, which
he's not.
Yes, he is. He is.
Can we agree that righty masher isn't a thing? Lefty masher just sounds cool. Righty masher is like 70% of the pitchers you face in baseball.
Right. If you're a righty masher, you're just good.
Yeah, I mean, that probably means you're a lefty and you can see the ball coming out of the hand better. But lefty mashers, that's a thing. Righty masher, that's pushing it, everyone. That's pushing it.
Okay, on this topic, Brandon says, what is the reverse of a lefty masher? Because at this point, Adam Duvall is a righty musher. Which, I don't know. Yeah, I think that is the opposite. DK Cash question, Carty. Gore and Brendan Lau? Yeah, thank you. That guy. Or Woods Richardson and Altuve, DK Cash.
The first one for me.
Okay. Stevie, your favorite cheap Houston outfielder. I'm running a cheap Houston mini stack to go with the Dodgers.
Pull it up really quick. Man, it would probably be Jake Myers. He's 3.1K. He's hitting 6. He just has a good lineup spot. He should have some people in front of him that are on base. So you just kind of hope that Jake Myers, who's not a great hitter, gets the job done if you're playing like that cheap stack.
Okay, we've got less than a minute until we got to bounce on out of here. KC says, Stevie, do you think Judge comes back today or sits another day?
I think he sits another day. If he does play, like there's an easy pivot off of Judge, like if you put Judge in your lineup, but I'm definitely worried about him playing or not playing today. Like there's no reason for them to rush him back here. And I think that there was a report that said that like he likely won't be back in the lineup today. So yeah, I mean, if you're playing Judge and you want to leave him in there, if he doesn't play, just swap to like Juan Soto, or if the White Sox game hasn't started yet, swap to Yordan Alvarez. But I don't hate the pivot straight to Juan Soto. It's lefty, but Juan Soto is just an excellent hitter.
Okay. Lightning round, less than 30 seconds left in the show. Carty, thoughts on Winker? Okay. Chinatown, what impact does a starting pitcher facing a team for the second time have in your thinking when building Carty? Is it something you consider or care about?
Yeah, if they faced them recently, the hitter should have a bit of an advantage.
Okay. And then a final question here. Does Kevin Roth believe in baseball players policing themselves, i.e. what's been going on with the Yankees and Baltimore recently? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. You throw at me, I'm throwing at you. You hit my best player, I'm hitting your best player, and I'm aiming at the face with a 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
Don't hit him in the head.
None of this in the back.
Roth, this is a bad take. This is a bad take.
I don't mean that.
Don't hit him in the head. Like I broke ribs before. Like hit him in the ribs. Like hit him in the head. You can end their career. Hit him in the ribs. You can make them be out for a little while, but don't hit people in the head. No. Like I fully believe.
What is the point?
No, don't listen to Carty. He never pitched. Don't listen to Carty. Hit him in the ribs. Like hit him in the ribs.
You gotta police. You gotta stick up for your own guys, and that's the way you do it. All right, with that, we gotta bounce on out of here. So for Stevie, for Carty, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, we appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you later. We'll catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.